We have completed example 13a, parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, let's go to part B of the question. This time round, a vertical tree of height 16.2 meters is growing at C. So if you look at it, it's that tree that's actually popping out upwards, and what you're seeing from it's basically the sky view. So you have the tree growing at C. Question wants you to find the greatest angle of elevation of the top of the tree from the point on DB. It also wants you in part 2 to find the angle of depression when there is this boy who climbed halfway up the tree. So let's get to this question. All right, this was the diagram that's in the question. But is this diagram necessary? It may not be very helpful because you are seeing the bird's eye view right from the top. What we want now is to see that three-dimensional, no longer 2D, but three-dimensional. So let me change this diagram, all right, and add the tree in. What do I mean then? You have that tree growing from C. So a tree, of course, the assumption here in math modeling is that we're assuming that the tree is standing up straight from the ground. So if I were to draw, this is the vertical tree. All right, so the base is C because it's growing from C, right? And then let's call the tree T, that point T. Question wants you to find the greatest angle of elevation of the top of the tree from a point on DB. A point on DB, we're talking about this red one here. In order to form the greatest angle of elevation, right? The greatest angle of elevation happens only when you are nearest to the tree. So let's put a note down. Greatest angle of elevation will only be achieved when you are nearest to the tree. All right, because if you stand far away, maybe you just need to lift your chin a little bit higher. You can already see it, but when you're very, very near to it, you actually have to lift entire chin all the way up. So the nearest distance to the tree. So if I look at this bird's eye view first, would the point here be nearest to C? Would the point here be nearest to C? Or would the point here be nearest to C? Where is the point that is nearest to C then? Yes, you have calculated earlier that this perpendicular distance that you have there is the nearest point to the C. And we actually spoke about this point being P. So what we have is the nearest distance, CP, the tree that is sitting right on top of C. This one will give me a right angle triangle. And when you are standing at P, all right, so when you're standing at P, when you look up, you actually form the largest angle of elevation there. All right, so with this diagram in mind, all right, we are going to calculate the greatest angle of elevation. To calculate the greatest angle of elevation, it's that angle TPC. The angle TPC, what are the lengths that we have? We know the height of the tree. The tree is 16.2. Oops, not nice. Let's write this again. All right, the height of the tree is 16.2 meters. Earlier, we have calculated PC, which is also the nearest point or shortest distance from C to BD, and that's 56.2916. Notice I did not use the rounded off answer in part 4, but instead I used the unrounded. As far as possible, I want to go really, really accurate. So what do I have here then? To calculate the greatest angle of elevation, which is this blue shaded angle, and using this as a reference, I know this is my opposite. Since right angle, I'm going to use trigo ratio. So this is opposite and this is adjacent. So putting them together, B part 1, I will be going for tangent, because tangent links opposite and adjacent together. Tangent, I do not know the angle, so let me call it TPC, is equals to opposite over adjacent, which is 56.2916, So angle TPC is tangent inverse this entire fraction to give me 16.0551 This is an angle. When we do rounding off, we round off to 1 decimal place, and that leaves me 16.1 degrees in 1 dp. Alright, answer to the context of the question. They say greatest angle of elevation, therefore, is 16.1 degrees in 1 dp. Alright, that's part B1 for you. Then in B2, they speak about a boy climbing exactly halfway up the tree. Alright, calculate the angle of depression of D when viewed by the boy. So now it's a little different. We have a boy climbing up the tree halfway and then he's looking at D. So if I were to draw my right angle triangle again this time round, C is where the tree is. Alright, instead of T at the top, let me call it Q because he only ran halfway up the tree, or rather climbed halfway up the tree. And because we're talking about him looking at D, let me mark out D. Alright, assuming this is the tree, it is perpendicular to the ground. Q is the halfway mark between the tree and the ground. So I know halfway mark, so if the tree is at 16.2, halfway mark, this is my 8.1 meters. Alright, distance between C and D, we have calculated that in A part 3. A part 3, you have calculated, and that's exactly 129 meters. Question wants you to find angle of depression. Alright, angle of depression of the boy when he looks at D. So now this boy is standing here, he looks down. This is his eye level, he looks down. Alright, the quick assumption, the math modeling here is that I am assuming my eye level and my ground is parallel. So which angle in the right triangle is he looking at, or are we looking for? We are actually looking out for this black angle here. Alright, why is the black angle and the angle of depression the same? The assumption is that they are parallel. So by alternate angles, I know that the angle of depression essentially is the black angle there. Alright, so to calculate that angle of depression, and I have a right angle triangle, using the angle CDQ as my reference angle, this is opposite, this is adjacent. Therefore, in B part 2, I am going with tangent. CDQ. Alright, tangent angle CDQ is equals to opposite over adjacent to give me angle CDQ at tangent inverse this entire fraction, and that will give me 3.5929, so on and so forth. This is an angle, so I'm going to round it off to 1 dp again. Okay, answer the question. Angle of depression is 3.6 degree in 1 dp. Alright, there you go. A complete question involving various trigonometric ratio, Pythagoras theorem, as well as the two angles, angle of elevation and angle of depression. Do look through the entire questions and ask and find out more if you wish to from your teachers. Have a good day.